Last show of the summer for me, and in the shadow of the National my expectations were low. But this show raised my collector's spirit to new heights, and I came away with some amazing cards, some new friends, and this story to tell. It was a single-room affair, about 120 tables in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. It was 100 degrees out, but the air conditioning in this hotel kept the sweat of this collector at bay and made for enjoyable browsing. As always, my first duty is to find Bryce Harper for the kid, and in short order I picked up his 2024 Topps Big League card out of a discount bin, along with some of the new Topps Chrome release. The dealer tried to talk me into some Harper rookies, his Topps Chrome and Bowman Chrome versions. I've already got the Topps Chrome, but noted the aggressive price of $25 on the PSA 7. $125 for the PSA 10 Bowman Chrome number 214 was the opposite of aggressive. I told him I was a buyer at more like $75, but didn't really like that card anyway and would prefer just a nice ungraded example. No hard feelings on either side of the table, but for $3 I took my Chromes and my Big League Harper and settled into the generally positive vibe of this show. Not too far down from the overpriced Harper was an old guy with case after case of graded vintage and autographed baseballs. I collect neither of those things, so I almost passed him by entirely when he reached out and asked me how I was doing and what I collect. I told him I was doing quite well, and that I had just arrived at the show, and that I collect vintage ungraded Phillies cards for the most part, and showed him my list. Stack after stack of cards hidden away. Really crisp stuff, too. So I picked up the 1963 Fleer Phillies cards, of which there are 5 in that set, but his were in such good condition I couldn't pass him up. His 60 and 61 Fleer piles revealed a stunning Grover Cleveland Alexander, and a Chuck Klein, too. These aren't playing days cards, but at more than 60 years old, very much scratch the vintage itch. We worked out a bulk savings deal, and he even threw in the Alexander for free because I volunteered to watch his table while he went to the bathroom. I shook the guy's hand when he came back, which I hope he washed, and off I went after my inaugural stint as a card dealer. I had one open card slot in my 1962 team set page, so I picked up a post-serial card of John Buzzhart to fill that spot. These are cool for $1 as a page filler, but not much more for me. Some guys are really cuckoo for serial cards, but they were a bit before my young breakfast era. This dealer was as courteous as can be, and for my $1 card, he provided a penny sleeve, a top loader, and a little brown bag in which to carry my little pile of pickups. Class act all the way. Off I wandered and found a dealer with cards sorted by player. I put my little baggie down and eagle-eyed the offerings. Do you see it? This is what makes shows fun. It's so easy to miss, and I almost missed it. How about now? Still no? Bryce Harper was hiding, and very likely hundreds of suspecting buyers passed by without knowing what lay beneath. Harper rookies. 2 on my wish list to help complete my Harper rookie run. The 2012 Bowman Chrome Draft Rookie, card number 10, and the 2009 Upper Deck Team USA card. This is Harper's earliest card from when he played on the 18 and under Team USA. After some back and forth, we agreed on $30 for the pair, $20 for the Bowman, which is about market price, and $10 for the Upper Deck, which is about market price. Happy to not pay eBay tax and shipping on them, off I went with a hearty handshake. The toughest negotiation of the day came at a table in the corner, in front of cases full of graded T206 cards. Tucked into one of the corners of one case was a single ungraded card, this sweet cap rollback Harry Kovaleski. Now this card was right up my alley, and I asked to see it, and the dealer congenially took it out for me. All his slabs were priced, mostly in the $150 to $250 range for T206 commons in grades 2 and 3. A touch high, but not totally outrageous. Now I loved the Kovaleski. He was known as the Giant Killer, always pitching well against the New York Giants. And his brother, Stan Kovaleski, is in the Hall of Fame. He's a baseball man through and through. The card had a few smudges of dirt here and there, some fuzziness to the round corners, but it had a clear image and no creasing. I asked about the price. He hemmed and he hawed, he checked his phone, and he came back at $200. What? I hastily responded with unintentional incredulity. Why so high? He chortled through a speech about the market and comps. I asked him about the comps. Everything in his case at $200 was already graded, and a 3 at that. What made this card so special? Was there something that I was missing? Some rare back that I don't know about? He brought out his phone and harumphed more and more about comps, so I stopped him again. As politely as I could, I said ungraded T206 Phillies cards in this condition regularly sell in the $60 to $80 range, except for the Sherry McGee portrait card, which is pulled higher because of the famous error, and the legendary John Titus because of the mustache. This card is not rare, and it's not a rare back. So why are you 3 times the market on this? More groans from the guy and sidestepping of the issue. So, against my better judgment, I took out my phone and did a sold search on eBay and showed him that the last 10 sales, 1 PSA 3 notwithstanding, of the Harry Kovaleski all went for under $130, and all of the ungraded cards were well under $100, with lots under $50. So I took out $60, which was a fair offer, and I put the $60 on his case. He stared at the cash for a second. "All right, you got me," he said. "I didn't figure a young guy like you would know anything about the early cards." "Young? Dude, I'm 44. But I'll take the compliment." He said he bought it for $50 and he wanted more than $60. Even though I was skeptical that he bought the card for $50, I said, "Okay, I'll go to $65. That's a 30% return for you, all cash." And there aren't many people walking around this show who are targeting early ungraded Phillies cards, that I can tell you. He shook my hand. $65. $5 more than I should have paid, but we both left something on the table. A fair fight. Fun stuff. On I wandered, running out of tables to visit, when I came across a dealer I didn't know who had 20 cases of primo vintage cards all lined up. My casual browsing turned very serious very quickly when I noticed some cards that dropped my jaw to the floor. I noticed the 1931 Chuck Klein first. I had just done an episode on his cards, so was startled to see a 1931 W517 cutout. Then I looked closer at the surrounding cards. A 1922 Nielsen's chocolate card, a 1922 W573 strip card, a 1915 Cracker Jack, and an 1887 Buckner gold coin card. All Phillies.
Jackpot.
There were others, too. Like all 4 of the 1952 Topps Phillies high numbers. More Cracker Jacks, T205s, T206s, all Phillies. What is happening? So I got the dealer's attention. And it was a nice woman. Unexpected, perhaps. And I asked her about the surprising amount of ancient Phillies cards. She told me they had just bought out a Phillies super collector in Little Rock, Arkansas, and they were all part of his collection. And they were just the beginning. There were more. But they were all back in Little Rock. Drooling a bit, and with an elevated heartbeat, I scoured each card. The Cy Williams was a Type 2 1922 Nielsen's chocolate card, the one with the blockier letters on the back. And the Lee Meadows card was mislabeled. It said it was a Nielsen's chocolate, but it isn't. It's a 1922 W573 strip card. You can tell because it has a blank back, and it's a much thinner stock than the Nielsen's chocolate cards. The 1915 Cracker Jack Bert Niehoff was a stunner, and I just loved the candy stains on it. The 1887 Buckner Gold Coin tobacco card was Ed Andrews. It was the oldest card I have ever held. The back was amazing. Continue to save the wrappers. They are valuable. You can say that again. The 1931 Chuck Klein was great too, and I wanted it all, but these are expensive cards and I just couldn't afford them. Now I bring a special stash to each show, just in case. My grandmother passed away more than a decade ago. She didn't have much, but when she died and her estate was settled, my parents shared what little was left with me and my sister. I've had $500 in my top dresser drawer ever since. Just sitting there, waiting for the right thing, the right reason, the right time, to spend it on something special, to eke out my memories of her just a little bit longer. For years, I would tuck it away and bring it to shows just in case I came across something really special, or I would take it to malls, antique shows. Holding a 137-year-old baseball card made me weak. I asked to take it out of the sleeve, and she agreed. It still had the faint smell of sweet tobacco. Maybe my brain just wanted it to smell like tobacco, I don't know. But that was it. It was time to dip into Grandma's gift. I knew I couldn't get it all, but we worked out a deal where I was able to come home with the 1887 Buckner Gold Coin card, the 1915 Cracker Jack, and both of the cards from 1922. All firsts for my collection, and my first 19th century card. I'm not embarrassed to tell you that we agreed on $500 for the 4 cards. We exchanged info as I really wanted to see what else was in their coffers back in Little Rock, and she brought out a little mat where I could take some pictures. She even took a picture of me holding the 1887 card with a grin from ear to ear. She came around the counter to give me a hug as I told her of the decade-old gift from my grandma's death. It was a really special purchase, and one that I'll remember forever. But now, I was broke. I had just a few dollars left in my pocket, not enough to do any more shopping. But a few bucks is all you need at a baseball card show, so I tucked into some quarter bins to see if there was more fun to be had here in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. And I found some cool stuff. Some 1991 Sporting News Conlon cards, which are great images of old-timey players like Lefty O'Doul here. Pacific trading card reprints like this Roberts, which is cool because this is the same image as the 53 Bowman, but from slightly further back. This Ashburn, too, which was going to be the image for the 53 Topps card before it was pulled. And more corny stuff like the Bowman prospect cards of Bryson Stott and Alec Boehm looking like absolute children. Aw, look at little baby Bryson and baby Boehm. And how about 25 cents for a card with 3 Hall of Famers on it? A few other little gems, and I was able to spend the last $4 in my pocket. My card show budget was exhausted. My special budget was also gone, and I was content as a bear in some blueberry bushes. With school starting, this would be the last of the summer shows for me, and the last gasp of my free time, which will soon be consumed with students, research, and faculty meetings, the only thing on this planet worse than a simultaneous root canal and vasectomy. But I'm okay with that. My summer card show season was rich with friends and family, full of stories and memories, and it ended with a gift from my long-deceased grandmother. May we all be so lucky. Thanks for watching. That's a wrap on Season 6, but there will soon be much, much more on baseball card stories, legends, and more.